As with anything in life, there is a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things, and for whatever reason in boating, it seems like we find a lot of people who like to do things the wrong way, just like some of the things we're going to witness in this week's episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. Now, of course, this comes in different levels. Obviously, it can be something as simple as driving a yacht out of the marina and accidentally just nudging the dock, but it does get much worse, especially if you get out there on a lake and you don't really know what you're doing. Maybe it's your first day out there captaining the pontoon and things just wind up going wrong. Now, of course, in boating, for things to go wrong, there's usually going to be signs, and as a captain, that's part of your responsibility is looking for those signs that things aren't right. For example, if you're rolling across the lake and the pontoon's got a heavy list, maybe you need to level out the weight or drop a couple people back off at the dock before things really get turned upside down. Now, of course, just because your day gets turned upside down doesn't mean it's done. Again, there are right and wrong ways to do things, and the right way to do it, if you get things turned upside down, go ahead and find a way to get it flipped back over and get it back right. Then you can continue on with your day and get back out there and enjoy that time on the water. Now, of course, when you get out there in the water and try and do things or in your boating lifetime, you're going to try and find the most efficient and easiest ways to get it done. But again, just because it's the easiest, most efficient way doesn't necessarily mean it's the correct way. I mean, sure, this got launched, it's in the drink, you've already got the truck parked, but still probably going to cause more damage in the long term if you continue to launch like that. One of the other things you may mess up with is not understanding tides. You may go out there, tie that boat up, and think, oh, we're good to go, only to come back to find it's in a little bit different position, and you may find yourself struggling to get yourself over to your vessel. I'm not gonna lie, I think at this point I probably just would have jumped in, knowing that I personally was going to fall in and swam to the ski to get it back over. But you never know. Again, as we're mentioning, we're talking about the right way and the wrong way to do things. Our guy winds up making it over. Maybe this was 100% intentional to keep the ski off the dock so it didn't get banged up. Now, sometimes some of the things you'll do wrong in boating will be a little difficult to understand, like beaching the boat. There's nothing wrong with that, but you gotta watch how high you beach it.
So I'm half tempted to dump out my bucket of beer. Because I guess this is about as qualified as it gets.
Now, of course, some mistakes we see in boating are a little unusual. Others we see repeated over and over again for some reason. And this is one of the biggest mistakes you can make on the water, is letting somebody ride outside the vessel in the bow of the boat. It doesn't take much. A little wake, the engine could stall and somebody could fall forward, and the next thing you know, you're running that person over with the vessel. Definitely a bad idea, and in fact, it's illegal in most states, so we don't recommend this, but for whatever reason, every week we're sent videos of people doing this, and it absolutely blows my mind when it can be one of the riskiest things you can do out there on the water. Heck, this crew doesn't even have a captain, they take it to a whole new level. Another mistake we see people make quite often out there on the boat is not paying attention to either tides or water situations that they're in. Always got to watch out for those sandbars. I know that's hard, they're under the water, but if you don't know the waters you're on, definitely make sure you have a GPS. And sometimes the mistakes will be made will be people thinking they're out there having a good time. But again, this is another risky one. What happens if you hit a log and shoot a log at somebody versus the water? Can always be a little bit of a challenge. Sometimes there's a fine line between goofing off and fun and doing something that could be a little risky.
Way to start your morning. Drug my extension cord down.
Now, sometimes, even when you're out there doing things right, things will go wrong, and that's why it's so important to understand every situation you're in and exactly how you should handle it. For example, many people would get into a situation like this and want to stop the vessel, and that is actually the wrong plan. Don't stop. If you ever go over a wave like this and you have the ability and your engine's still running, keep that boat moving until all the water's evacuated out. And you never know when water's going to get in. I mean, you might get that guy who decides he's going to help you out by going ahead and hosing down the boat for you. Now, this is a classic case of doing things right versus doing things wrong, and this kid's just lucky nobody had a potato cannon sitting in their yard. And sometimes the mistake you'll make will be something as easy as just leaving your keys sitting on the table. Now, of course, we've all been new boaters at some point in our lives. That means that we've made new boater mistakes, and of course, everybody's going to.
Don't see this too often. All right, both pontoon boats, engines up, motors on, rental boat, 100%. Hashtag what the heck.
Now, other times in boating, the mistake we'll make will be trusting others. I mean, you're going to come to a point in your boating life that you're going to have to. You're going to have somebody spot something for you or assist you in some way on the vessel, and you're going to have to trust that person is doing it the correct way. And many times, this will be one of the hardest things you'll have to do in your boating life. And this is a lot of times when you ask a captain, can you help? And they tell you no, it's because of that. It's because they want to do it themselves just to make sure it's done correctly and they don't have to go back behind somebody and check everything. We do love it when people help out on the boat, but most of the time it's easier if we do it right the first time ourselves. Other times, the mistakes you'll see are people not using the correct tool for the job. Or you think they're not using the correct tool for the job, but it turns out they're just fine.
You're joking. What's that, like a 40-foot pontoon boat?
Now, I'm just curious in the comments below. I know one of you already knows, and somebody's probably already typed it. What is the actual rated towing capacity for that vehicle? Is it actually rated to tow this pontoon? I'd be really interested to find that out because that's a big pontoon it's carrying. Now, sometimes people you don't think will make mistakes are the pros, the people who make a living out there on the water and always out there doing it. But sometimes, some of the things you'll see them do really make you shake your head. Like this guy right here must have a wish to lose some fingers as he's touching this line with that massive anchor on the end trying to get it. I'm not sure why he didn't use a pry bar or any number of other methods to try and get this back in. But even this one right here, I'm not sure that this guy's method is any better. But let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is just how it's done. Another big mistake I see made in boating quite often is just assuming things. For example, you're on a jet ski, you know you only draft a few inches of water, so if you see water, you're probably okay, but that's just not the case. And then, of course, another mistake people will make that backfires quite often is taking unnecessary risks. I know, you're stuck behind that slower boat, you're tired of being there, so you see your window of opportunity to go around. Even though it's a no-wake zone, you don't care. Full throttle, gun it out, and get past them. But the reality is it's just not worth the risk in many situations. Of course, you're breaking the law, but on top of that, things could go wrong and you could wind up crashing into the larger vessel. But thanks for watching, crew. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening out on your waterways, be sure to hit us up on Facebook or Instagram and let us know, and you might see your stories over here. Just like Will Angel, Yamaha 7-Man, Craig McLaren, Gussie Outdoors, Harley Clifford, and Adam Coolidge did this week. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here.